You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the April 15th meeting for the Michigan City Common Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Common Council meeting on this evening. Today is Tuesday, April 15, 2025. I would ask if you will all please silence your electronic device and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent prayer.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, on roll call, please.
Mr. Beatrice,
Present.
Mr. Coulter,
Present.
Mr. Dabney,
Present.
Cora,
Present.
Ms. Lee. Present. Ms. Moldenhauer,
Present.
Mr. Nelson,
Present.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Present.
Ms. Tillman.
Present.
9 present, 0 absent.
We have a quorum. Moving on to our agenda for approval of minutes, regular council hybrid Zoom, April 1st, 2025. May I entertain a motion?
So moved. Support.
I have a motion by Dr. Cora and a second by Councilman Dabney. Madam Clerk on call.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. Ms. Moldenhauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
and Mr. Beatrice.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Minutes are approved. Reports of standing committees. Are there any reports of standing committees? Any reports of standing committees? There are none. Finance Committee meeting. The Michigan City Finance Committee meeting met on today, April 15, 2025. In regard to the Michigan City Riverboat and Boyd claims docket for April 15, 2025, Riverboat Fund Number 2235, $18,899.93. The Riverboat EFT Fund 2235, $0. Boyd Development Fund Number 2504, $0. These claims are for the LaPorte Chrysler, Michigan City Police Department lease of vehicles. Total claims again is for $18,899.93. May I entertain a motion for approval?
Support.
We have a motion by Dr. Cora, a second by Mr. Beatrice. All those in favor by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Motion carries. Also, the City of Michigan City 2025 Riverboat Rainy Day Fund. Oh, I'm sorry.
Your microphone, I think, is off. There you go.
Thank you. My apologies. Also, as I was stating, the City of Michigan City 2025 Riverboat Rainy Day Fund Statement of Cash Position fiscal year to date. Fund type 2235 for Riverboat Fund, $1,363,081.36. Fund type 2236 Rainy Day Fund, $1,848,763.71. The grand total year to date, April 30th, 2025 is $3,211,845.07. Moving on to the agenda, we have reports from boards and commissions. We would like to start off with Tristan Smith, President of the Urban Enterprise Zone Association of 2025 Annual Report, please.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening, Mr. Smith.
Good evening, Clerk. I'm here to present the 2024 report from the Michigan City Urban Enterprise. Last year in our grant cycle, we were able to award $78,000. 45,000 went to small businesses, and another 33,000 went to residential for home repairs, home improvements such as roofing, structure improvements. We also moved into an office space on 519.5 Franklin Street, and that's kind of sums up how we wrapped up for that last year. This year, our grant cycle started March 1st and runs until October 31st. We set aside 100,000 this year for the grant cycle. We have 4 categories. We kept the business and the residential. We also now have a neighborhood improvement grant. And we also have a workforce development grant geared towards engaging not just the homeowners in urban enterprise, but also the renters as well. Try to give everybody opportunity. What our workforce development grant is one I'm really happy with. We are giving residents opportunity to get skilled up. We will pay for certifications of such as if a resident wants to come in, go to barber school, we'll pay up to $1,000 for that for them. Anything that falls under the guise of that. That's really all I have. Any questions, anything?
Are there any questions from the council? Any questions from the council?
I have a question.
Mr. Prisbalinski?
Yeah. How much money do you still have in your fund? It's a year to date.
Year to date, last time I checked, we're like $298,000. We will start receiving payments for this year's cycle. It should be start coming in by next month. Next month, we should start receiving payments from the business that participate in the program for this year, or for this year.
Mr. Smith, could you elaborate or share information on some of the grant that's available and how they can obtain that information if they need to apply?
Yeah, no problem. So for the business grant, the requirement is the business that operate inside the urban enterprise, and they allowed up to $7,500 for the grant. And then for the home improvement grant, is a $7,500 cap. The requirement for that is we pay for things such as roof repairs, siding, fences, structural improvements to the home. For the neighborhood enhancement grant, we will sponsor a neighborhood event that comes about, or say we have an elderly in the neighborhood that wants to get their lawn repaired for this summer. We will pay for those type of services. And then the workforce development grant is essentially helping scale up residents. We take appointments Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 to 2. You can reach out by 219-873-6860. We're also available on the city website under boards and commissions. Go down to Urban Enterprise, and you're able to fill out all applications on there. Only other requirement is they have to get the information in, present their application to the board. We meet every third Monday, and essentially the process, try to make it quick and sweet for them.
Thank you. Councilman Dabney.
Real quick, could you go with that number that you gave and go a little slower with that number? Because I know I'm that guy that's always listening to the radio trying to write numbers down. I never get it.
219-873-6860.
Thank you.
No problem.
Are there any other questions from the council?
Yeah, Madam President.
Councilman?
Yeah, one more question. So with the information that you providing the council tonight, contact information and the information that you have, does your organization send out information specifically just to the residents and businesses that are in the urban enterprise zone?
Yes.
So they're aware of the programs?
Yes, sir. We're working on the press release that will be coming out within the next few weeks. And we're attending any neighborhood events that we can to spread the word, spread the message as much as possible. We're trying to do everything possible to get the word out to residents, try to get the resources out there as best we can.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Dabney?
I'm sorry I didn't follow up with that. This is more of a comment than a question. Over the years that I've been on the council, the public does not understand especially who is in the enterprise zone versus who is not. It is the weirdest drawn map that we have in Michigan City, and a lot of people simply don't know that they're in the enterprise zone. So I would suggest that if you're even thinking about this at home, go out there and check the map. It runs all the way down Michigan Boulevard. It stretches into the west side. It goes into Canada. So if you're even thinking about applying for some of these grants and you're unsure whether or not you live in the urban enterprise zone, please go out there and look at the map. Like I said, this is the weirdest drawn map that we have in Michigan City. So go ahead and check that out to make sure to see whether or not you actually live in that zone. And this is a very powerful board regards to what you guys can do to help out residents here in Michigan City. I was on this board before, or as a liaison from the council, and I know there's a lot of good things that can happen on this board. So I just really want to push people, if they're even thinking about doing this, to go out to the website, look at the map to make sure whether or not you're in this urban enterprise zone. There's a lot of good things that you can apply for to help yourselves out here in Michigan City. Thank you.
Councilwoman Moldenauer.
Thank you, Madam President. I really want to acknowledge you all for adding the 2 new categories, especially the Neighborhood Improvement Fund. I think it's come at an opportune time because Mayor Angie's fundraising gala just included raising a lot of money for neighborhood improvement. So I like to see it when 2 different groups are on the same page because we can get a lot of mileage out of that. So thank you so very much.
Thank you.
If there are no further questions from the council, thank you, Mr. Smith,
Thank you.
for your
guys.
annual,
I have a comment.
oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Nelson. Yes.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to acknowledge Mr. Smith. He's been a breath of fresh air since he's been on this board. I was on this board maybe a year before I was a council person, and it's been night and day since this gentleman has been on there. I love your ideas. I love what you bring to the table, and I just wanted to take the time right now to tell you I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. And I will take the time to thank my fellow board members for coming in, Mr. Antonio Conley, Dakota Euler, and Bruce. I never remember how to pronounce his last name correctly, so I won't try. But thank everybody. The board's been great to work with, and anything we do to help, always email or call away. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will have Mr. Clarence Hulse with EDCMC, Director of Economic Development, presenting their 2024 annual report.
Good evening, members of council. Clarence Hulse, EDCMC Director. Great to be here to present the 2024 annual report. 2024 was a great year for Michigan City. Not so good for me, but I'm glad to be back and be here on planet Earth and be back in Michigan City. But before I start, I'd like to thank a lot of people. I've worked with each of you in different manner with the past couple of years. So I appreciate all of you because I work with you on different initiatives and different projects. So thank you for your support for the EDCMC. I'd like to thank my staff. If they are around, please stand up, wave your hand. Of course, thank you. I'd like to thank my board. There's a few of my board members on here. Where are you guys? You can wave your hand. You have to stand up. And also our partners. We work with a lot of nonprofits and also people from the community, MCNLA, Vibrant Michigan City. Please wave your hand. You're one of those groups. So thank you. It takes a whole team to make things that are happening in this city happen. So I appreciate the teamwork and the community support that make all these things happen. It's not only me on my team, it's a lot of people with ideas and sweat equity making these things happen. So with that, I'd like to show you a few slides and then open up for questions from the council. So go ahead. That's our mission. We're here to help provide support for residents and business in our community to provide growth, economic growth, prosperity, and opportunity. So that's our snapshot. I won't go over that line by line. It's on our website. And we are here to help provide job creation and economic development in many different forms. I always tell people we're here to help you and meet you where you are. Not everybody wants a job. Some people want to create their own jobs. And so we also here to help you do that too. Some people need skills enhancement or training. So we're here to help connect you to those type of resources because everybody has a different way of defining prosperity. Our goals, again, to bring lower unemployment, bring better wages to the city, and that takes many forms. We're trying to diversify our industries. We've traditionally been manufacturing and tourism. We're trying to go into healthcare, robotics, high tech, especially AI. but also increase new business activity to our community. We're trying to grow our population and also make sure housing, diversity of housing, and also how do we ensure people who are trying to start business have the capacity they need, and also new loans and different ways to gain capital. As I mentioned, last year we had a wonderful year. We were able to look at $113 million of capital investment to the city that came through our office. There's a lot more that happens outside our office, but we can only report that people who come to us or we have something to do with what they're doing here. So great year for us. And this is our third year in a row where we've actually gone over $100 million. And so I tell people we're doing as great as the cities downstate, Carmel, Fishers. So we are really punching above our weight class. And this is no small feat. It's taken years of people working together to make this happen. And so I always want to give credit to people. Can you go back one? Go back. Yeah. So 22, 23, 24, over $500 million worth of investment the last 3 years. So hopefully we can keep that trend another 3 or 4 years and see how those projects come out the ground. That's the important part. You can see them actually being built. Just want to highlight what's happening in our downtown, our Uptown Arts District. Over the past 5 years, over $3 million worth of investment. And these are small business people investing in our community. The city has a great facade program. And so both the River Commission and the UEZ help fund some of these projects in our downtown. And so it's great to see new restaurants, new business moving to our downtown and make it very vibrant. Just a number for completed projects the past year. Different types of, if you like to eat downtown Michigan City, there's lots of different venues you can now go to. Down Franklin Street, we do love our chicken. So what I can say is there's always a chicken place in Michigan City opening up, and we don't have to recruit them; they come to us. So, and I tell people that I always want to complain is that they know where you eat. So when you travel outside Michigan City and you go to one of these establishments, they track you and they track you to 46360, and eventually they show up. So that's how that works. Cableland, great family business, been here forever, and we want to see them stay around for a long time and open up a new location on the east side. So we welcome that investment on the east side. We're seeing a lot of growth in the future on the east side. So we welcome that. Again, projects in progress. North Shore still working to be downtown here soon. 7-Eleven Plaza, that's will be a great project. They're having some issues with environmental at this point, but we hope to see an open space on the north side of that building. We've been talking to a number of great venues. One's Pizza and Beer Axe Throwing, so hopefully that'll be there soon. The one below that is Middle Eastern grab and go with falafel and those type of stuff near the train station. And the one on the lower left is a great story. It's a story of two residents who left 15 years ago, decided they would never come back, and they're here back home, bought their home, bought a building, they opened a wine restaurant in Midtown. So that's a great comeback story for Michigan City. DME, second generation, been here since 1975. The siblings, the younger siblings are taking it over. They're spending over $20 million to build 100,000 square feet in our business park. And if you drive by right now, there's a lot of steel, a lot of trucks with putting up steel trusses. And so that is supposed to be finished hopefully by the end of summer. Great project for Michigan City, and it's a great expansion for Michigan City. Housing, that's been our sweet spot. It's taken about 5 years or so to get the pump prime. We talked to a lot of people prior to COVID, and during COVID, there were a lot of virtual meetings. And I'd say probably the last 4 years when a lot of the stuff started moving forward. As you can tell, there's a diversity of housing, both high-end, middle-end, workforce housing. And that's the key. We're always trying to make sure there's a diversity of housing that matches all the incomes. Are we there yet? No, but you got to start somewhere. And so I think this is the start of many great new projects for the city. Woodland Ridge, if you've been out there lately, there's a lot of work out there, and they're hoping to get their first units, 35 built this year. And so we're excited that this is the first project, the first in 50 years for our community. And this is the one that really started first and really opened up the floodgates. Of course, if you haven't driven by 11th Street lately, this building is actually going up, and every week you go, it changes. This is probably the catalyst for a lot of what's happening in our downtown. When this was announced, of course, there were naysayers who thought it would never happen. And there's still people today who think it will never happen. But hey, we believe it because we see it, and it's actually coming out the ground. They're now on the 4th floor. If you've been there lately, you've seen the lobby entrance with the new facade, that old facade that's been put back together piece by piece. I think it's a great story for Michigan City to see that revitalized and restored. We are excited. This is going to change a lot of what's happening. It already has 220 units in the middle of our downtown, and this will keep going. This is some of the pictures of what's actually out there right now. Well, I shouldn't say right now, but the last few weeks. But look at the facade, the restoration. I think that's awesome work, and it's a great story for our community to save the old as we bring in the new. Solar, weekly meetings, trying to get that to the starting line. Lots of back and forth, but we're hoping to have them break ground by the end of summer and get this off the ground. It's been a long time coming. Great project, but lots of moving parts. So we will hopefully get it to the city council here in a few months because you have to do the final bond for this project. So actually, all our projects eventually come to you. This was announced about a month ago. This is a site that has a lot of failures. I think 3 failures, and so this we think it will be the project that actually works. Great team of young developers who've got a lot of vision. They've done a lot of work in Chicagoland. We were able to visit a number of their projects in Chicago and Chicago areas. They believe in having a lot of amenities in their project. And so we're hoping that this will get started as soon as we can. FYI, you won't see anything move until another 24 months. That's how long it takes to get these projects off the ground. So we're now looking at term sheets, and then there's financing, and there won't be a property transfer until next year. So, and then there'll be drawing and looking at the capital stack. So that people you understand, it takes you 2 years to get anything off the ground, literally. So, but before that, there's a lot going on behind the scenes before it actually happens. The business park of Highway 20 East. Thank you to City Council for making this happen. You voted to fund the water and sewer lines for these 2 areas. There's over 250 acres of industrial land in that area. And just so you know, we the last 5 years turned away a lot of projects because the first question they ask you is, when are you going to have water and sewer? And we couldn't give them a firm answer. No, we could say by the end of summer. So as soon as the cold breaks, if you drive out there by the cemetery, you see a lot of yellow flags. So the designs is complete, and they've done all the flagging of the area so they can start putting holes in the ground for water and sewer. They're telling me it's going to take 45 to 60 days to get that done. So hopefully by the end of summer, we'll be able to bring in some new projects. One of the great things is that because of what's happening in New Carlisle, a lot of suppliers want to be close enough. And so we're becoming a prime spot for new industries because of that. So look for more of those coming soon. Market Mall, Market Mall. We have a new owner. We were in touch with him. He's working with 2 developers right now, looking at reformatting that whole 50-acre site. It's not going to be the mall of all. They're looking at hotels, restaurants, offices, open areas. And that's about as much I can say right now, but it's not going to be the old Market Mall. And so, again, there'll be some demolition, and yeah, so, but it's in process. We're working with another developer to build another business park off Cleveland. There'll be small units, 12 units with 15 to 20,000 square feet. We have a lot of calls for people who want to do distribution in the city and they need small spaces, and they'll be lease or lease to own. So that'll be coming before us soon. Again, the big excitement around Michigan City is, of course, what's happened the past 2 years outside Michigan City. And people say, well, why are you excited? Well, because all this affects us. You're looking at probably over 4,000 high-income, high-wage jobs within 20 minutes of Michigan City. 2 of those are being built in cornfields. So obviously, they got to live somewhere. And so a lot of what we're building, they'll be moving here. So that will impact our community in terms of additional income, additional sales tax, more folks to our, our school system, and and new residents. And so that's the way for us to grow. Do I wish they were in the city? Yes, but obviously we don't have the land, or what they need is power, and we don't have the power systems inside the city for these large projects or the land. But the fact that they're close, the state is looking to spend over $2 million right now to look at putting a new train station in New Carlisle, so you'll be able to go to work 50 minutes by train from Michigan City. That's a huge deal, because you don't have to even drive to work. So we think we'll attract probably at least half of these people moving here in the next 5 years. Workforce development, we keep maintaining, we want to make sure our workforce is trained to get these jobs, both local and in the region. So we work with all our local industries to see that happen. Every year we raise funds through a power breakfast. We send our high school kids and kids from AK Smith to Chicago. They go to either the FabTech show or the manufacturing trade show through the school system. And we use the proceeds from power breakfast to actually fund that. I always tell people the IMTS is the largest manufacturing trade show in the United States. It happens in Chicago every 2 years. And so when I came, I was surprised nobody went there. And there's a special track for high school students. And so when I got here, we had one bus going the first year. It's every 2 years. And so last year we had 4 buses. And one of the buses is all girls who want to be engineers and designers. So which is awesome, I think. So and then of course we have the different programs that Michigan City was probably the pioneer in terms of healthcare apprenticeships, the construction apprenticeships, but also the Promise Scholarship, which have been changed to now do trades and other blue-collar jobs for our community, and enhancing our skill sets. One of our core businesses is attracting business to Michigan City, and we do it in various ways, offering incentives. We have a number of different zones in the city that we can provide incentives for. We have meetings with site selectors, commercial brokers. So we're always talking to people about how wonderful we are and why you need to be here. So that's part of our job, is to sell Michigan City. Of course, one of the big projects that we're working on right now, we were very fortunate to get a grant from the state to study what can happen with the prison. We're working through that. There's been 2 community meetings. We're trying to work with, get a meeting set up with the youth, because we kind of want to hear what they're saying, what they're thinking, because most of the meetings are people, 50 or below or over, or 50 or 30 to 50. So we want to hear what people, high school and above are thinking, because this is going to be their future. So what are they thinking? So we're trying to get that set up right now. We're also trying to get inside the prison. That's been a little difficult because the new ISP commissioner is trying to make sure he has a budget. And so he's not really, we're engaged, but he says until the session is over, he really can't help us right now. So, but it's not a no, it's just wait. And, the mayor and I had a visit into Fairfax, Virginia. There's a prison there that was started developing 10 years ago when it was closed. And they've got single family, multifamily, retail area, and affordable housing, senior housing, and it's about 88 acres, which is a similar size to ours. So we were very impressed with what they did. And so we're trying to figure out ways to get out to see other prisons that was, discontinued over the past 30, 40 years and see what they did, so we can learn some lessons. One of the things we learned very quickly is that you don't have to knock down all the buildings. In Virginia, they white box the buildings, so you can take all the insides out and then white box them and then have them leased out. So I thought it was a pretty cool idea. So. Robert Michigan City. For those of you who are wrong in 2022, we were part of a group selected by LISC and Brookings II National Nonprofits to work on communities. And so we have continued that since 2022. And so kudos to all the people in the community who are still doing things and making things happen, whether it's Art Fest, whether it's getting grants for community gardens. We are trying to make sure people are getting more stuff done in the community. And our thing is we want you to love your city, and we'll help you find the resources, but we can't do it. It takes many hands and many ideas, and we want to make sure you are doing what you say you want to do. We'll help you get there. And so we're trying to partner with other groups around the country, outside the area, to bring those resources to Michigan City. So one of them is Notre Dame. They have a program for urban initiative for getting people out of poverty, how to start a business and those type of things. And that's funded. All they want is space and us to help them find people. So that will start this fall. We're trying to get some funds. We are going to get some funds from the mayor's office for mini grants for neighborhoods. We're trying to set up a way for people to compete with the neighborhoods. We want you to beautify our neighborhood. We want to see Christmas lights and then give out prizes. And so we will be calling on some of you to be judges at some point, because we want to make sure people compete. We want to have the neighborhoods compete to be prettier every year. How's that? And better lighting. I can't say lit. Lit has a different terminology these. I can't use the word lit. So, but much more lighting for Christmas. So we started the Business City Neighborhood Leadership Academy last year. We had over, I think, 24 graduates and from 11 neighborhoods. This year, we started a second class. We have 30 people in class from 11 neighborhoods, 5 wards. And so there's been a number of programs started from the first class in terms of new neighborhood groups restarted, one new one started. And so the whole idea now, we've gotten some funds from the city through the mayor's program to help people set up these neighborhood organizations so they can start doing initiatives within their neighborhood. And the goal is for them to be independent and figure out what they need for a neighborhood. So when they call you, please respond, because they probably have a plan they've met and they want you to hear it. So the goal is to have them be grassroots, but also when they come to you, they got a plan. So future challenges, of course, is, we got a lot of highways jobs within 20 miles. So there'll be a competition for talent within Michigan City and outside the Michigan City. So we want to make sure we have lots of amenities to attract people here in our city so they can work for our companies. Housing, over 2,000 units in the pipeline right now, both under construction and through the permitting process. That's going to be a heavy lift for some of your departments, and we can talk about it later, because that's a lot. For a city that has slept for 50 years and then you wake up one day and there's a lot of housing coming. Yeah, a lot of work. Workforce development, working with the mayor's office to look at what can happen with the Opportunity Hub. Entrepreneurship, we're working in a business innovation center on how to make sure we have people starting business here. How do we take advantage of technology and what's happening around the world, but how to bring those things to your current community. And of course, the prison is going to be a huge project, over 115 acres near the newest national park in the country. What do you do with that when that goes away? The future NIPSCO site, what's going to happen with that? So lots of questions, opportunities, challenges, but I think if we all work together, bring ideas, discuss them, find resources, we can make things happen. So that's my report in a nutshell. Open for questions.
Councilman Beatrice?
A couple of things. Great report. A lot of exciting things going on. The one thing, I've been a big advocate of workforce development and training for a long time. And the one thing that I think in Michigan City that's an opportunity that we've missed on, and I had a conversation with the mayor not too long about this, is marine mechanics. I know AK Smith has a lot of good programs, so does everybody does, but I haven't seen anything on marine mechanics. And if there's ever a community anywhere that ought to have a marine mechanics program, it's Michigan City. We have way too many opportunities that I think we're not taking advantage of. The thing I'd like to thank you for, in addition to all of that, is that you forward research to us from ED programs nationwide. And they are all focused on cities on the move, nationally and regionally as well. And it's so rewarding when I read through those things to see the city of Michigan City as a shining star and a city on the move, right, regionally as well as nationally. So keep doing that. That's good reading. Every step forward is a catalyst for the next big step forward. And we've got great momentum, and we keep getting better and better, and you deserve a lot of credit for that. So you're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you for your partnership.
Dr. Torah?
I just want to echo what Mr. Beatrice said. Thank you and your staff and all your board members. You have a wonderful board. All the years I've been involved in public life, I've been pushing for new housing. And when I see 2,000 new units going up, it's unbelievable. And I think in 5-10 years from now, the face of Michigan City will change. And I'm very optimistic about our future. What I realize is sometimes people who live here don't see the potential of Michigan City as much as the people who I see who talk about Michigan City from outside. And again, to echo Mr. Beatrice, thanks for sending all the information about where we stand. And one of the important things was it's not only on the move, but also our area has one of the most affordable housing. It's in the top 10 in the country in terms of, so I think with all the new industry coming along and with homes that are more reasonably priced compared to other larger cities, I think there will be a lot of people moving into the area. So thanks again for the wonderful work you're doing.
Councilman Dabney.
Yes, this is not really any questions for you, but just more comments about what we have going on tonight. First of all, thank you for the presentation and show us all the good things that are coming and happening here in Michigan City. And there's just a couple of things that I always hear and always see on social media when we talk about, things that are coming into Michigan City. And I just want to dispel some of the rumors. And I hope some of this gets reported out into the News Dispatch. Some of the people can hear exactly what I'm saying tonight, or read what I'm saying tonight. But anyway, at the very beginning of the presentation, you made the joke about the chicken places that are here in Michigan City. And over the years, we've had this conversation. I remember when a bunch of mattress stores came into Michigan City. And that was the big joke about mattress stores. Now it's about chicken places and so forth. But the public has to understand that the city does not go out and bring 50 chicken places here in Michigan City. These people want to come to Michigan City. They come approach us and they move their businesses here in the Michigan City after their corporate offices does the proper analysis of what Michigan City is all about, and they come here. We don't control whether or not those companies come here. Obviously, they have to meet, certain standards to come here, but this is not a concerted effort by us, by economic development, by redevelopment or so forth to bring these stores and these chains into Michigan City. They want to come here. So we allow them to come here, open business here, pay taxes here, which we desperately need in our coffers. So I just wanted to put that out there because that is kind of the big line out there. Oh, they're bringing in so many of the same. No, these are companies that have done their analysis and they want to come to Michigan City.
Councilman, also they follow where you buy those things from. So the fact that we are going to Valpo and Maryville buying those products, that's where they come here.
Yes. Housing. I hear this all the time. When people are coming into Michigan City with housing projects and things that they want to do. And then the first thing I always say, well, that's not going to be affordable for the people here in Michigan City. And when these people come here to build and they build some of the things that you saw in the presentation, the market controls the money that they're charging for these homes and things like that. This is not something that is done by the city council, by redevelopment, economic development. These people come here and sell these homes, rent these homes, whatever they may do based on the market prices that they get. So we are not purposely pushing the prices of these things up so that, quote unquote, the people of Michigan City cannot afford them. So I just wanted to put that out there because I see it all the time. Are these going to be affordable for the people here in Michigan City? And then I wanted to talk about some of the things that we have happening outside of the city. You talked about the thing that's coming up in New Carlisle and some other places. Kind of reminds me back in the day, and I'm aging myself a little bit. Back in the day, Whirlpool had the big place over in LaPorte. A lot of people from Michigan City drove over to Whirlpool and they worked in the area. So these are opportunities, even though they're not in Michigan City, as Clarence actually stated, where people from Michigan City can find these jobs and make a better living with some of the things that are happening, even though they are not located here in Michigan City. So I wanted to stress that. And I wanted to lead into something that the mayor has talked about, that you have talked about. Mr. Beatrice even mentioned it as well, about workforce development. These are opportunities for people here in town to take advantage of some of these things, to skill up. As like I said, I've heard the mayor use that term a lot, skill up. The A.K. Smith Center, Actually, Ivy Tech Community College, they do vocational programs. A lot of them is 2-year degrees at Ivy Tech, but they also have certificate programs that you can participate in and get a certificate to do something like welding and so forth in less than 2 years. So the opportunities are out there for our people from Michigan City to skill up, to be able to get these new jobs that are coming to the area. So when I see these things happen and everything that was put into this presentation, there's a lot of opportunity out there for our people to take advantage of. Just got to want to do it. And I hope to see more people starting to take advantage of this rather than staying on the sidelines and keyboard complaining about it, and do something about it. So there's a lot of good things coming. I'm happy about it. I know a lot of the other council people are happy about it. Some of the people sitting in the audience as well should be happy about this. And we're moving forward here in Michigan City. I'm proud to be on the city council, to be involved with some of these things that are happening. I hope you're proud as residents here in Michigan City that we have a lot of these things coming. And then finally, I'll wrap this up. I kind of skipped over it when Clarence talked about projects taking 2 years from start to finish sometimes. They have to get their financing in order. There's a bunch of different things out there. There's taxes, tax breaks and everything that they're looking for with the state and so forth. So these projects take time. It's not like we're going to announce something and then the next day the building's going to be there. These things take time, and we've been working, they've been working in terms of getting these things up and running for the city, and we're on the right track. And like I said, I'm proud to be a part of this transformation here in Michigan City, and I hope that you all are too. And I'm really trying to talk positive about where we live and what we're trying to do, because I really believe that a lot of this stuff starts with an attitude, a positive attitude of moving forward to take advantage of some of these opportunities that we have and that are presented to the people of Michigan City. So whoever hears this, if you're watching this meeting, if you report this in the newspaper, you get a chance to read this, I really hope that these people take advantage, like I said, of the opportunities that are being presented to us as a city. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilwoman Lee?
Thank you, Madam President. Clarence, thank you and all of your different teams for everything that you all have done and your continued active engagement in the community. You all are everywhere. I see all of you all over the place, and I appreciate that. And I've said this before, but you made it evident again tonight. When you all plan, you don't plan for one specific group of people or 2 or 3. You have something for everyone in the city, and that's acknowledged and that's greatly appreciated. And thank you for always including the youth and supporting different youth projects and everybody around the city. Thank you all for that.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Moldenauer?
Thank you, Madam President. Clarence and team of 3, my head spins when I look at how much work your small team does.
We got a great team,
So
team aside.
but I just really want to acknowledge you for that. Unbelievable. I would love to see a dollar breakdown of all this money you have brought in and by the number of people you have on your team, and compare that to places like Carmel and Fishers and other places, because I think you're off the chart regarding that. I also really appreciate the collaborative effort that happens in this community between the businesses, and I'm talking about the big corporations, the locally owned smaller businesses, our nonprofits. Everybody has a place and a part in what's been happening. So I think it's easy to gloss over that and not give a heartfelt thanks to absolutely everybody that makes this possible, including all of you who post all of the really positive messages on social media, because we need so many more of those to drown out what Councilman Dabney was talking about. We have a great city here. We're on the move. We are going forward regardless. This movement cannot be stopped, and it makes me so proud to have decided to move back here in 1999, not knowing any of this was going to happen. So just really thank you to everybody that's sitting here in the chamber this evening also for supporting all of us. Thank you.
Are there any other comments from the council? Mr. Holst, I think they covered everything, and I just want to concur. I support everything and stand with them as well. And for you and to your team and to your board, continue the great work of making Michigan City bigger and better.
Thank you. Please go through your packet. Lots of great stuff in your packet. Thank you.
Next. Next on our agenda, we will have Baker Tilly Municipal Advisory presentation of the 2024 Michigan City Redevelopment Commission TIF Management Report.
Good evening, council members. I'm Andy Mauser with Baker Tilly. Did just pass out a few copies of our presentation here, should be working their way down, maybe in your packet as well. So I just wanted to make sure everyone had those. I will try to be brief. This is a requirement that's been in place for a number of years. And this is really a report that looks at previous year activity for the Redevelopment Commission. We've worked with the city for a number of years to prepare this. There was a new requirement that was put into place in 2024 that this report not only has to be uploaded into the Department of Local Government Finance's Gateway website, but then also presented to City Council. So I wanted to provide that to you here this evening. And then we have worked with the Controller's Office to make sure that this is inputted by Gateway or into Gateway, as today is the deadline for submission of the report. First few slides just provide information on kind of the mechanics of TIF and redevelopment commissions. Just a couple things I would maybe highlight on slide 2. There are a number of annual requirements that are more public in nature. One being the report in front of you here this evening. Again, this is really a look back report. So this report here looks at all activity for the Redevelopment Commission in calendar year 2024. We also do a couple more forward-looking items for the Redevelopment Commission each year. One, which was a new requirement just this last year. By December 1st, the Redevelopment Commission for the first time last year had to adopt a spending plan, which controls spending here in 2025. And then we also do an annual presentation to talk through just kind of status, future budget, long-term plan of the TIF areas. And that's something we presented to the Redevelopment Commission in February. So this report, I'll jump into the 5th slide and kind of go through again, what's been compiled and then uploaded into Gateway. We do report on Redevelopment Commission members and employees of the Redevelopment Commission. So you'll see that information outlined on slide 5. Slide 6 looks at a summary of the TIF allocation areas. When we talk about Michigan City TIF, we typically, talk about north side, south side, northeast, east side TIF areas. Just wanted to highlight there really are a number of different allocation areas that make up those 4 TIF areas. And then here within the last couple of years, that north side and south side area were actually consolidated to provide greater flexibility in where dollars can be spent. But as you look through the various allocation areas, there are a number of areas that will expire here in the near future. So a large component of the north side TIF, the expansion that was set up in 1997, and then the original component of the south side TIF, those will expire in 2028. So that is positive impact that the TIF will have on tax base here in the very near future as TIF assessed value now becomes city tax base assessed value. And then those areas, as I mentioned, have been expanded a number of times over the years. So you've got components of the TIF areas that will continue on throughout the 2030s and actually throughout the 2040s as well. We also report on the finances, so all financial activity in the TIF areas. You'll see that on slides 7, broken down by area. I would note that the activity for the north side TIF, the community center, expanded urban renewal area, does include expenditures on the Franklin, the 11th Street Station Block project, and those totaled about $11.6 million last year. We also report on grants and loans of TIF dollars. Last year, those included primarily the technology grants in the total amount of $600,000 to Michigan City Schools, and then also facade grant program as well. Next page breaks down those same expenditures into State Board of Accounts expenditure categories. The majority of redevelopment commission expenditures last year, again, was the spend down of those bond proceeds on the station block project. And then also debt service, so about 4.2 million in total principal and interest payments on outstanding projects. Next slide takes a look at fund balances. I would note these were all as of December 31st of 2024. Redevelopment Commission typically receives TIF distribution semi-annually. So a TIF distribution in mid-December, and then turns around and makes bond payments in early January and February. So these balances were after that December distribution, but prior to many of those bond payments coming back out. But you'll note balances in the North Side TIF allocation fund of about $4.1 million. Balance in the South Side TIF allocation fund of about 8.6 million. A balance in the Northeast TIF allocation fund of about 1.2 million, and then about 678,000 in the East Side TIF. And then a number of other various bond funds that remained outstanding, the largest of which is the mixed-use transit project, remaining bond proceeds outside of what was spent in 2024. And then there are a number of various reserves that remain outstanding as extra protection on the various bond issues. And then finally, we do report on all outstanding debt and then debt payments that were made in the previous year. You'll see those all outlined on slide 10. And, as Clarence talks about all the exciting future, projects that I think you have in the pipeline here in the near future, these really represent investment that's been made in the projects that have occurred here over the last 5 to 10 years. So as we look at the mixed-use transit project, the 2024 residential infrastructure loan provide utility upgrades to support additional housing, and then going back to previous years, Wabash Streetscape, Ohio Streetscape projects, major infrastructure projects that the TIF is assisted with, and I think puts you in good position for additional growth. And then we also have to, report on various statistics for housing residential TIF areas. You currently do not have any residential housing TIF areas, so nothing to report there for 2024. And then no TIF that's distributed to any other taxing units outside of, again, the 600,000 that did go to Michigan City Schools. So, no, that's a lot of information, but be glad to answer any questions you might have on the report.
Mr. Beardsley?
Andy, is interest that accrues to any of these funds listed on here as revenue, or is it not listed?
It would be listed, so it would be in the revenues. The majority of the revenues you'll see for each TIF area would be the 2 TIF distributions in June and December. But then your interest earnings and any other revenues, things like land sale, proceeds, things like that would be included in the revenue.
Is added in as a revenue.
Correct.
Okay.
Councilman Prisbalinski?
Yeah, one question under that housing TIF allocation area. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. Could you explain that a little bit more? Indeed, I mean, what does that mean?
So that's really just a section of the report that all communities have to fill out. So any community that establishes a residential TIF area then has to report on the number of homes that have been completed within that residential TIF area, the value of the homes that have been created. You, as of now, do not have any residential TIF areas, so there's nothing to report, but still something we show on here as it's a part of what gets submitted into Gateway.
Right. Thank you.
Are there any other comments from the council? Any other comments from the council? There are none. Mr. Mauser, I thank you so much for your annual 2024 presentation, so that we have a clarity in regards to how and what the TIFs funds have been utilized for, to comprise what the amounts are currently. I would like to say, if you could, as of right now, are we looking at approximately a cumulative of all the TIFs, approximately 14 million?
I think that's right, based at, as of the end of the year. But again, I would note that that was kind of a high point in your TIF balances. That's right after TIF distributions came in to the redevelopment commission accounts, but then before debt service payments went back out first of the year. So,
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Mauser. We greatly appreciate your presentation, and we look forward to the upcoming reports for 2025 as well.
Sounds good. Thank you for your time.
Moving on to our agenda, we're now under reports of special or select committees. Reports of special or select committees. Councilwoman Moldenauer.
Thank you, Madam President. This is regarding the Michigan City Sustainability Commission. And I want to give heartfelt thanks to Andy Jan Davis for serving as our chair until our last meeting. And her term came to an end by ordinance. So she's going to take at least a 2-year break from working with us officially, but Andy's made it very clear that she's not going away and will probably be working on side projects with other organizations within Michigan City. So we love to see that. Really just, she's been a tremendous leader, and we're sorry to hear her stepping down at this point in time. I'm happy to announce that Abigail Neary was elected as our new chair this last meeting, and we have a extremely strong leader. She's going to outshine both me and Andy. She has a professional background in sustainability. So when we're looking at building committees, commissions, boards, this is the type of leadership that you hope shows up, for your organization. So I know that all of the commissioners are looking forward to working with her this coming year as she steps up as the new chair of the Sustainability Commission. Also announcements, Earth Month Extravaganza. This will be the last time you hear me talk about this, but it's happening Saturday, April 26th at the Senior Center at 10:30. There's going to be a beach cleanup that's sponsored by IDEM, Indiana Department of Environmental Management. And the official program will be from 1 to 4 p.m. Again, at the Senior Center, we're going to have an electric vehicle car showcase at Fedder's Alley. We're going to have a tree and milkweed seed giveaway. We're going to have exhibits. We're going to have games. We're going to have crafts. We're going to have all kinds of uplifting activities. So we hope you'll take a break out of your day that Saturday and come and join us for that and help spread the word. Last year we had 400 participants, so we're hoping to break the 500 mark this year. And with our larger facility, I think it's going to be totally possible to do that. So let everybody know, come and join us. And Andy Jans Davis will be very happy because this is her baby. So this is something she enjoys doing so much every year and would be speaking about this much more enthusiastically than I am actually. So see you that Saturday at the Senior Center. And then my last announcement has to do with Northwest Indiana Green Drinks, which is co-sponsored by the Sustainability Commission, Save the Dunes, and somebody else. I always forget who that is, but anyhow, our next program is about bird art and the Indiana Dunes Bird Fest, which is coming up. Christina Nowski actually has designed the posters for that particular event every single year. So she's going to be talking about her creative process and coming up with what bird is featured and how she sets it in its setting and comes up with these really beautiful works of art. She does individual pieces. She's also the owner of Ancillary Gallery in Chesterton, which she has shows every month. That's happening Thursday, May 1st, always the first Thursday of the month, 6:30 p.m. You can join us via Save the Dunes live Facebook feed, or you can get the Zoom link from that's EM at savedunes.org. And thank you all very much.
Thank you. Are there any other reports of special or select committees? Councilman Coulter. I was gonna say Greg, but Councilman Coulter.
Thank you. So this is, I'm the liaison for the Historic Preservation Commission. So you can't learn everything from this old house. So we often have workshops to help skill people up for their old houses. We were going to have a painting workshop on Saturday, but we've had to cancel that, postpone that, excuse me. So I'll have information about when it will be, but it will not be this Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to reports from mayor or other city officers and departments.
Good evening, Madam President and council members and Clerk, Deputy Clerk. A couple of things. First, great reports tonight. A lot of information for the public. The UEA under the leadership of Tristan Smith. I would like to say that they're trying to do a lot of good things, and we've had meetings. I know he's met with our Director of Public Works. We're talking about partnering with the Indiana plan for a class this summer in Michigan City. We're talking about a dumpster program for them to partner with us on that as well. So a lot of good things. Clarence, of course, a lot of projects that have been underway for a while, and I couldn't be more happy with the work that they're doing and the board and all of the work that's happening. And then Andy, they're keeping us out of trouble. Mr. Mauser, there's a lot of things going on downstate. I'm really going to focus on that right now as far as my comments and about what's going on. So yesterday, last night, as I was watching the Senate, it was about it was 9:30 our time. So 10:30 last night, they started Senate Bill 1 last night. It passed approximately after midnight sometime last night, and Senator Braun in the wee hours signed it into law. Senator, I keep calling him Senator Braun. Governor Braun signed it into law. So that was today. And the impact. So we don't have all of our numbers yet, but one thing that did occur last week, and the reason why I asked you all to do the resolution, there were about 40 plus mayors. We were down there last week lobbying against the business personal property tax, and they did amend it and remove that from the bill. So that was removed, which would have been a big hit to our net assessed value. So that did happen. So we are happy about that. But there's still an impact, and we don't know what that looks like yet. I can tell you for LaPorte County, and I'm just going to pull it from the fiscal report from the state. The estimated change in property tax net revenue, all units in the county, compared to the current baseline year. So this includes the homestead credit, the new 1% and 2% cap property deductions, existing property tax deduction, lit property tax relief credits, and some other things. So we'll get more into that we're probably gonna have to call a workshop for that once we get the information. But for LaPorte County, for 2026, we're talking $5.3 million. For 2027, we're looking at about $6.3 million. And then for 2028, about $6.5 million. I will say that Senators Pohl and Bohachik voted against it as a FYI. But also what it means for our public schools, we're looking at $744 million cut that will be cut over the next 3 years for public schools. Statewide, 744 million statewide. So one of the talking points was, 2/3 of property tax owners, you're going to see a decrease in their property taxes, but they're pushing it back on municipal government to, pass a local income tax or pass a will tax or pass taxes, right? So the gap that has to be filled, they're pushing it back on the local cities to provide that. And so we need to look, we're going to have to take a long look once we get our numbers to figure out what that looks like. I know the road funding bill has changed tremendously. So far, not a whole lot to share. I know I will be talking to Representative Pressel tomorrow, but they've removed those mandatory requirements for the wheel tax, but there's some carrots that they put in reference to the wheel tax. So hopefully we'll be able to share some of that. But also we need to be leery because the budget forecast is coming out tomorrow. They signed this in the wee hours of the night, the Senate Bill 1, which incorporated many things from House Bill 1402, that put the lid in and some different things. So we're gonna have to have a whole workshop on that, to talk about it and what the impact is. But I do want to say, I am appreciative of everyone who supported the event this past weekend. I think, as we partner with nonprofits, I know that Maggie Sparks left here, uh, to fill the gap. That is going to be important that we look for other ways to do projects. And I'm thankful for all of you, with the ARPA funds, that we are, in a space where we'll be able to do some things in the community this year and next year, to kind of meet that need. Also for the public, and more will come about the Destination Playground. But $25,000 of those funds from Friday are going to the Destination Playground as a match. So we're asking the community to step in and help, make donations at the Unity Foundation, to our playground, so that we can make that a reality. There's going to be more to come on some other fundraising opportunities for that. But I think, beautifying the neighborhoods, it's a good thing. And I think the more we get people outdoors and the more that we get people participating and keeping our city clean. And I'm finding more people are sending pictures and reporting folks now with their license plates. So I'm appreciative of that. That happened today. And it's been happening more and more often. I think people, excuse me, are feeling more empowered. They want beautiful neighborhoods, and I think that's what we want. So a way for them to do that. So that's all I have for tonight. Excuse me. Any questions for me?
Any questions from the council? Any questions from the council?
Easy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Madam Clerk, our first petition.
Petition P-100-25, rezoning R1B to R2B and R3A, south side of Tryon Road, a 4th mile west of Royal Road / Tryon Road, and a 1/2 mile east of South Carwick Road, Tryon Road. Partial number 4601-26-126-008.000-022. 46-01-26-126-006.000-020 and 46-01-26-126-009.000-022, Michigan City, Indiana.
Okay, the agenda doesn't indicate the sponsor of this petition, but this is gonna go along with the ordinance on first reading. So Councilman Dabney.
And that's what I was going to say, that this is going to tie in directly to the first ordinance that we have tonight. So I won't comment now. I'll let you come up and say what you want to say, in regard to this, and then I'll comment when we come to the first ordinance.
All right. Council members, thank you for having me here tonight. My name is John Kovchuk. I'm a partner of Tryon Meadow LLC. We have brought this residential project in front of several bodies in Michigan City already, so I think a lot of people are familiar with it. But and it did get approval at the last Planning Commission meeting by unanimous decision. But essentially, this is a subdivision on Tryon Road on about 40 acres, which has consists of apartments, townhomes, and single-family homes. And essentially, I believe the approval is for the new zoning that needs to be changed from the current R1B to R3A and R2B, which is basically low-rise multifamily, and then townhome and single-family residential. So in front of you, I have placed the primary plat, which we've really worked hard to fine-tune and engineer. And happy to answer any questions, and just want to reiterate, we've spent a lot of time working with the various city departments, and it's been a great process so far. So thanks for having us here. We're very excited about the project.
I'll open it up for public comment regarding this petition. I'm going to open this up for public comment on this petition. Any public comment on this petition?
Yeah, this is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street. We got all these developments going on the east side. Just want to mention, all these developments are not on the fixed bus route for the Michigan City Municipal Transit. We need to provide our services for them. Like I think we need to consider adding a fifth bus route for that area of the city. It's like Moore Road and this Tyron Meadows, Tall Timbers. They've had that in since 1969. They've never had a fixed bus route for our fellow residents out there. Hopefully we're going to have a lot of families moving in there. And I want to encourage them all to enroll and send their students off to the Michigan City area schools, help boost our continuously declining enrollment. We have a fantastic school, so I can personally attest. My students I don't mean to brag and boast about this. I consider mine to be the best. We epitomize everything a student ought to be at the Michigan City Area Schools. I've had 4 members of my family since the class of 2000 graduate as members of the National Honor Society at the school. We produce some of the greatest athletes in the history of sports. We're the most popular. We're by far the best looking. In 2018, Ray Rivers guy took 2 guys to a senior prom. So go to the Michigan City Area Schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comment? If there are none, public comments are closed. Comments from the council. Councilman Prisbalinski?
A question when I know this is going to be done in 3 phases, correct?
Yeah, that's the plan right now. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 phases. So after phase 3 is done, what is the projected, population of this whole project? You have any idea? If you have 3 people living in a house, an apartment, what have you?
Yeah.
500 people, 600
Yeah,
people?
like you said, I mean, it really depends on your estimates of, the range of people that live in a particular unit. But if you would assume around 3 people per unit, then it would be probably around 500 to 600 fully built. But again, this is going to take quite a while to build out. So I'd say average population growth would probably be, 50 to 75 people per year. That would be my best guess at this point. Hopefully faster, but I'm always conservative.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments from the council on this petition? If there are none, may I entertain a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Prisbalinski. May I have a second?
Support.
And a second by Mr. Beatrice. Madam Clerk, on the vote?
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Boldenhauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Prisbalinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
and Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you, and this petition carries. Next on the agenda, Madam Clerk on communications, please.
Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on April 7th, 2025 from Harris Law Firm regarding the MCPD FOP Dunes Lodge number 75, 2026 collective bargaining negotiations. Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on April 7th, 2025 from Dakota Euler regarding the MCUEA 2025 grant cycle.
Okay. Attorney Snow, in regards to the resolution that has already passed, which is currently on our agenda for this evening, the formalities of having this resolution removed from the agenda, what would be the formality?
I think you have 2 options here. I mean, it's a resolution, so it requires a motion and a second to be approved. So if you call for a motion and there is no motion to approve, then the motion fails and there's no further discussion needed. You could also move to amend the agenda to remove the item. That would be a motion to amend the agenda that would require a 2/3 majority. So either way will work, I think.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to amend the agenda and remove this resolution.
Support.
We have a motion by Dr. Cora and a second by Mr. Beatrice. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Amending the agenda to remove the resolution.
Okay.
There's only one vote.
Okay. Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Moldenhauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. This matter has been removed from April 15th agenda. Next on the agenda, we have ordinance on first reading advertised in the Herald Dispatch, February 15, 2025, and March 19, 2025. Formal public hearing was held by Planning Commission, March 25th, 2025. Madam Clerk, by title only, would you please read ordinance on first reading?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, amending the zoning map of the city of Michigan City, LaPorte County, Indiana, to rezone real property located south of Tryon Road, approximately a fourth mile west of the intersection of Royal Road and Tryon Road, and a half mile east of the intersection of South Carbeck Road and Tryon Road from R1B, single-family residential zoning district classification to R2B townhouse and R3A low-rise multiple-family residential zoning district classification. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney.
Any comments from the sponsor? Councilman Dabney?
Yes, actually what was said before when we did the petition for this, this is another development that is coming into Michigan City. And in the end, after everything is said and done, there are going to be apartments, townhomes, and single-family housing out there in this development. And this did come before the Planning Commission. And as it was stated, that this was passed along unanimously with a favorable recommendation to the City Council. So once again, more development coming to Michigan City, and I'm happy for it. The Planning Commission obviously was happy for it. Like I said, they approved that unanimously with a favorable recommendation. And I will leave it at that since we did have information that was already put out there during the petition phase. Thank you.
This is open up for public comments. Are there any public comments on this ordinance? Any public comments? Any public comments on this ordinance? If there are none, public comments are closed. Any comments from the council? Any comments from the council on this ordinance? There are none. This reading ordinance will be held over to the next meeting. Madam Clerk, by title only, would you please read ordinance on second reading?
An ordinance on second reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the general fund 0101 for the Vector Control Department. This is introduced by Ms. Moldenhauer, Mr. Prespolinski, and Ms. Tillman.
Are there any comments from the sponsors at this time?
Yes, Madam President. I'd just like to explain a little bit what's going on with this ordinance to the public. What's going on is Vector Control is taking over grass cutting and lawn maintenance of some parcels that had been taken, that had been done by contractors in the past. And basically what we're doing is just taking $95,000, decreasing the general fund and increasing salaries and wages, 75,000, increasing FICA, 5,000, increasing supplies, repairs, parts by 5,000, and increasing small tools and minor equipment by 10,000 for a total of 95,000. And by doing this, it's cheaper than hiring out the contractors to do this work. So that's the basis of this ordinance.
Are there any other comments from any of the sponsors? If there are none, are there any comments from the public on this ordinance? Any comments from the public on this ordinance?
Madam President, I would just suggest there's a public hearing due to be
Oh,
held.
I'm sorry.
We should probably just formally open the public hearing, and that'll also serve as public comment.
I will open this up as a formal hearing for public comment at this time.
Yes, this is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street again. Yeah, this is money well spent. They started doing this last year. I want to commend Brett Kelly and the Vector Control crew for doing this. It's a very monumental undertaking. There's a lot of acres of land they're having to do. And it really cuts down a lot of the blight and the urban decay and all the horrific and frightening and terrifying things that you see when you travel and you visit some of the other cities. So I think this is really the way to go, and I really strongly encourage you to pass it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments at this time on this ordinance? If there are none, public comments are closed. Comments from the council?
As is the public hearing.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm
That's
sorry.
fine. Yeah, the public hearing is closed.
Oh, the
Need to state
pub-
that.
I'm hearing two. Attorney Snow,
I'm sorry, we just need to state that the public hearing is conducted and closed.
public hearing has been conducted and
Yes.
is now closed.
I'm sorry. I
Thank
need
you.
to raise my hand, probably.
The formal public hearing is now closed. Councilman Prisbalinski.
Yeah, Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to have third reading this evening on this.
Support.
We have a motion for third reading and a second by Councilman Dabney. Madam Clerk on the vote?
Ms. Lee? Aye. Ms. Moldenhauer?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Aye.
Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
Mr. Beatry?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Madam Clerk, on third reading,
An ordinance on third reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the General Fund 0101 for the Vector Control Department. And this is introduced by Ms. Moldenhauer, Mr. Prespolinski, and Ms. Tillman.
any comments from the sponsors? Councilwoman Moldenauer?
I look upon this very favorably as the city paying the city instead of paying a third party for this.
Councilman Prisbalinski? Your light is, no, okay. I will open this up for public comment. Any public comments on this ordinance? Any public comments? There are none. Public comments are closed. Public comments from the council.
Motion to approve.
Support.
We have a motion by Councilman Prisbalinski and a second by Councilman Dabney. Madam Clerk on the vote, please.
Ms. Moldenhauer?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Aye.
Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
Mr. Beatry?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
Ms. Lee? Aye. 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
And this motion carries. And next, Madam Clerk, by title only, ordinance on second reading, please.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, amending section 102-1 in the Michigan City Municipal Code, commonly known as removal of weeds, grass, and rank vegetation, introduced by Ms. Moldenhauer.
Is there any comments from the sponsor?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. First of all, I want to offer sincere apologies to our forester, Michael Wolf, and also to Brett Kelly, who's the officer with Vector Control Department. We did not give them the opportunity at the last meeting to discuss this, nor to answer any questions that the public may have had about this ordinance. Are any of those two here this evening? Okay, thank you very much. I wanted to afford them the opportunity if they were. Basically, what we're doing is reducing the number of days that a resident has to take care of an ordinance that they've already been in violation of. As it stands right now, it's 10 days. And both Vector Control and the forester felt that reducing that to 5 days was totally appropriate because they've been in violation already. I think really we should look upon giving our residents the benefit of the doubt that we believe they are going to uphold and obey the ordinances. So for me, it's a little confusing that we continue to give them a back door, a way out of not doing what we expect them to be doing. So that's the premise of really bringing this down from the 10-day to the 5. The other thing is if Mr. Kelly were here, I know that he would say that when the grass gets up to 6 inches or above, it's very difficult for them to assess the yard and the condition it's in. They have to go through the whole thing to look for items that may be there that could damage equipment, that could cause injury to the city workers. So that's the first thing they have to do. Then they have to go in with a mower set at the highest height, do a cutting, blow it all off. They have to go in with the cutting at the medium height, do the whole area again, blow it off. And then they have to do it a third time for the length of grass that would be appropriate. Again, cut it, blow it all off. This is a very labor-intensive process for vector control when they could be using their time in a much more efficient and sustainable manner, I'll say. So they're really requesting this just to make their job easier. And overall, I've just heard a lot about beautifying our city. This is one way we can easily beautify our city by keeping the grass levels where they should be. I don't have a copy of my amendment to this, but what I do want to say is that I consulted with Mr. Kelly and also with Mr. Wolf, and they are completely in support of and in favor of the ordinance that I have presented here. I also consulted legal counsel, and Amber Lappish said that as this ordinance stands, it's fine. We don't need to add the line that quotes the Indiana state statute that governs this because it's unnecessary. It's not needed. I went back and reviewed some of the other ordinances that have been like updates, and I couldn't find a single one that the state statute was actually quoted within the body of the ordinance. So I've talked to all three of those people. All of them agree that the ordinance that has been presented is adequate and it covers what we're hoping to rectify. Thank you.
Councilman Kuzelinski.
Yeah, and I would like to speak on behalf of the ordinance and the amendments that I'm proposing for this. And I also did talk to the city attorney, Amber LePage, and she wrote up some of the amendments that I made. And the one that's referred to that it's not necessary to put the IC code 11171. All right. The reason I had that put into this as an amendment so that when you have an ordinance and it states the IC code, we know specifically what that means, and the vector control is going to know exactly what that means. Right now, they don't know what it means, and if we add that, they will know what it means. And basically, all it deals with is how people are informed of the violation. Indiana Code Title I, general provision, and you all have a copy of this because it came on the back of the amendment. Okay, deals with any service of the United States Postal Service or any service of a designated private delivery. Okay, they tracks the delivery of the mail, requires a signature upon delivery, and the delivery by an employee of the unit of government sending the notice. So that's what the basis of it is, and it's more of a knowledge item for this ordinance than anything else. The second thing, and I know that we want this to be, and I agree with the 5-day rule, okay? What I'm looking for is fairness here, that if we say we're going to give the general public 5 days to get down and see the clerk of the Board of Works to file a grievance for having to cut their grass within that time period, that we're going to give them actually 5 full business days. You know, there's people that work shift work. There's people that work in the steel mills. There's people that have families. Whatever the situation may be. I used to work shift work. It's kind of hard sometimes to get home at 8 o'clock in the morning and say, oh, I got to go down to City Hall now when I can hardly drive because I'm tired from being up all night. You have to go through those circumstances to understand them. But I still believe 5 days is adequate. What I think is we have to be fair to the public to give them 5 full days. And my amendment will say that says that if you receive the violation on a Monday, then the clock starts ticking on Tuesday. It doesn't start ticking on Monday, the same day that you get the violation. You could get the violation on Monday. You get home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. City Hall is closed. That's already 1 day off the map that you cannot respond back to get down to City Hall. And furthermore, for the purpose of computation of time, which is one little paragraph here, I got here that for the purpose of computation, if any of the 5 days falls on a Saturday, a Sunday, a legal holiday, or a day of which the office of the clerk of the Board of Works is closed, they're excluded from the computation. So you're still going to get 5 business days to be able to get down and file for the exemption or, abate the violation. So that there is the basis of my amendments. Oh, and just one more. It actually states here, in section 102-1D to, how it can be delivered. Delivery of the copy of the notice in person, a person to whom the notice must be given can be done personally. It can be delivered by a city employee, or it can be mailed by registered mail, certified mail, or service of a designated private delivery system. So all that does is explain the different avenues of how a notice can be delivered to someone. It doesn't have to be registered mail and someone signing that they delivered and received the notice. So that's my basis of my amendments. And I'm just trying to be fair to the public that receives a notice to give them a solid 5 business days to be able to go down and take care of the business at City Hall.
So, Councilman Prisbalinski, so that the council understands what you're proposing, is this a secondary motion to the amendment, to your amendments?
Yeah. Well, you can always file, just for clarification, and I checked this with Jewel Harris, okay, that we turned in amendments, but you can always turn in another amendment, and that's what I'm doing here this evening. Yeah, that's perfectly legal.
That it is.
You're welcome.
And then Attorney Snow, so with that being said, then do we incorporate or do we vote for the amendment? Or
My interpretation, according to Robert's rules, would be that the ordinance that's currently on second reading is the one that's introduced by Councilwoman Moldenhauer.
okay,
So if there is a motion to approve or adopt the ordinance, it would be that version. Councilman Prisbalinski would then, I guess, need to make a secondary motion or a subsidiary motion, basically to include the amendments that he's proposing in the version that the council ultimately approves. There would have to be a second to that motion. There would be discussion and a vote on that motion. If those amendments are approved, then I think Councilman Prisbalinski's version of the ordinance would be approved because we've approved the amendments and therefore, I mean, theoretically, we've approved that version of the ordinance. If the council does not approve Councilman Prisbalinski's amendments, then that motion fails, and then we return to the vote on the original version that was sponsored by Councilwoman Moldenauer.
Okay. So before that takes place, I would like to open this up for public comments. Please keep in mind, as a reminder, that public comments are 3 minutes. To be courteous in regards and to stay on topic in regards to the ordinance that is at hand. Are there any public comments regarding this ordinance at this time from the public? Any public comments on this ordinance?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Paul Prisbalinski, 1716 Washington Street. Longtime resident of that, well, actually a lifetime resident of that Midtown district. I want to say that I don't know what Ms. Moldenauer is referring to, a backdoor effect. But what I came here tonight to talk about was fairness. And I pulled a different ordinance out that deals with contractors. And if I may, I wanted to read this section out. I didn't make copies for everybody, but I want to, don't add it to my time.
That's fine, within your 3
Is that,
minutes.
can I be excluded from that? Because this is directly out of the
No, sir.
ordinance, because
It is your 3 minutes is only allowed.
is that this deals with contractors in the city of Michigan City. Is that if they're given an order that the inspection department is sending them a letter that they've done something wrong or they disagree with, that they have 10 days to appeal that decision in front of the Board of Works. Why is it different for a resident to make his life more difficult because he doesn't even know the rules and he's going to have to check into what he can do if he's got a big problem, all right, that he didn't know he had. And I believe that what Councilman Prisbalinski is proposing on the notification process, it says that also in this ordinance. It's out of your code book. My whole essence in this presentation is fairness, not heavy-handedness of the government. Now, just because the vector control and the forester believe it's a good thing, doesn't mean it's a good thing. It's for their purposes. That's why it was introduced. Miss Moldenauer alluded to that it was proposed to her by those guys. So I'm just saying is that being all fair, it should be uniform across the board with all complaints and violations. It should be 10 days to either appeal, or if you don't appeal, you accept the decision. All right, it's spelled out in this ordinance, and maybe you need to incorporate that into that ordinance so everybody knows this is the way you're going to operate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prisbalinski. Public comments? Are there any other public comments? If there are none, public comments are closed. Council comments, Councilman Dabney.
Yes, I spoke to Brett Kelly regarding this whole ordinance, and lucky for us as a city that most people do respond when they receive a notice and they cut their grass. He said the overwhelming majority of the people actually cut their grass. At one point I was even thinking that we should take this down to 3 days because they already have 6 inches worth of growth. That's a lot of growth. I mean, I just try to measure that on my foot and that, on my leg, and that's coming up over my ankle. But luckily for us that we don't have a whole bunch of issues with this, regarding when people do get notified, that they said the overwhelming majority of the people do go ahead and take care of the issue. So, we're legislating some, I don't want to call it exceptions, because like you said, they said most of the people actually take care of the issue when they notify. So I'm happy with that. And let's move forward. We've been talking about this now for 3 or 4 meetings straight. So let's get this thing done.
Are there any other comments from the council, Councilwoman Molina?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I wanted to point out in my ordinance, all those different methods of delivery of the notice, they're listed also in my ordinance, so.
If there are no further comments from the council, may I please entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Pardon, could you repeat that, Madam President, what you just said? I didn't hear what you were saying.
If there are no more council comments, may I entertain a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to have a motion on the amendments that I introduced. And I did that earlier.
But we have Attorney Snow, we do her motion first because that's what's on the table, correct?
There would need to be a motion to approve the ordinance as read. First of all, the ordinance that was introduced by Councilwoman Moldenauer.
Correct.
And honestly, I can't remember if we moved for that at the beginning of this discussion or not. I don't think we did.
No, we did not.
So I think there would need to be a motion on the agenda item. And then there would be the secondary motion to amend the agenda item.
So the motion, it's on the agenda item, Nancy's,
Yes.
it's on the agenda. So I'm not.
Point of order. Because I spoke to our attorney, Jewel Harris, and he told me that if you wanted to get your amendment read first, then you can make a secondary motion to have your amendment read.
That's
first. And if that, and then the council votes on it to whether they want to have yours read first or Councilwoman Moldenauer's.
I don't think that's exactly the way that I read it in Roberts, and I don't think that's exactly the way Attorney Harris explained it to me when I discussed it with him. Your secondary motion has to be secondary to something. So there has to be a motion for the council to vote on the actual item that's on the agenda. Before the council votes on that, you can make a motion, a secondary motion to amend what is actually on the agenda. Then the council would consider your amendments first. That's what Attorney Harris explained to me, and that's, I think, what he explained to you. So then there would be a vote on your amendments. If the council approves your amendments, then that would be the version that we consider to be approved. And then we could talk about, I guess, what we'd want to do a third reading or whatever. If the council does not approve your amendments, then it returns back to the original version. Your motion is defeated. It returns back to the original motion, and then we talk about Councilwoman Moldenauer's version.
So do I make a motion that I want to?
There's
Vote
a
on-
motion there's a motion on the floor, on the table by Councilwoman Lee.
So I motion to approve the ordinance as presented to the council.
Okay. And is there a second for that?
Is there a second?
Or
Second.
And then you would need to be recognized.
Yeah,
Councilman,
I'd like to make my motion, a secondary motion to approve my amendments as presented.
is
Is
there
there a second?
is there a second? Is there a second? There's not a second, so this will convert back to the original ordinance on second reading. Madam Clerk on the vote? I'm correct.
Yes, because because there would need to be a second of.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Councilman's
Yes, this is
motion.
on second reading.
So there was not a second, so the motion to amend does not have a second, so we can't consider that. So now you return back to the first motion, which was to approve the ordinance as presented by Councilwoman Moldenauer. That was seconded.
Correct, but there is no vote. This is on
This
second
is on
reading,
second
so
reading,
this
so
matter
unless
will
we
carry
remove
over
it,
to
right,
the,
yep,
to the next
okay.
meeting.
No,
This is gonna move over to third reading. Thank you. Had to talk it out. Now we are, yes, ma'am. Next, we will have new business. Is there any new business, Madam Clerk?
There's no new business.
Madam Clerk, on unfinished business?
Nomination, the council has one appointment to the Michigan City Commission on Sustainability. Incumbent Andrea Jan Davis, term expires May 1st, 2025. The applications received is Kamisha Williams, Elaine Mark, and Julie Smith.
And tonight we will open up nominations for the Michigan City Commission on Sustainability. And the applicants again is Kamisha Williams, Ellen Mark, and Julie Smith. And we will do this by individuals. If you can indicate who you would like to nominate. Madam Clerk, on the call, please.
Good.
Who they would like to nominate?
Yeah, anybody can nominate anyone.
Yes.
I nominate Kamisha Williams.
Thank you, Councilman Danny.
And then there needs to be a support, I think. Of that.
I'll support that.
I nominate Julie Smith.
Support.
I nominate Eileen Mark.
Is there a second? Are there any other nominations at this time? If there are no other nominations, nominations are now closed. The nominations for voting will take place at the next council meeting. We will now open up comments for the public. Please keep in mind that public comments are held for 3 minutes only.
Hi, my name is Kathy Stransky, and I live at 223 East Parker Ave. And I want to tell you, for the past 2 weeks, we have lost a great building to our city. The church across the street, the red church, and everybody in town knew where it was, has been taken down. It is an empty lot now. That was a form of our identity in the second ward. That was our identity. Okay, and we have lost it. But the problem that I see with it is that it was never acknowledged anywhere that that was happening to us. We didn't hear anything from anyone. We didn't get that. We got the channel, the South Bend News in. I think we had one Chicago News come in, but we didn't hear anything from our representation. And we were all there more than one time. We were really suffering with that. That is part of our home. That was our landmark. And now it is gone. And it was like nobody cared. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Stransky. Public comments? Are there any other public comment?
I just want to say this as a point of order. I think your last legislative activity was kind of screwed up because you were thinking you're going to have a vote on something on second reading when Councilman Przybylowski's motion was in order and to be voted on, and that it was amending the version that was on the table. So I think that by approving that version, you have showed the general public in Michigan City, if you do approve it, that you like the heavy hand of government. And I cannot help the problem that those people, and you also approved the way that they're serving notice, putting leaflets indoors by approving that piece of legislation. That is totally wrong. They should be treated, I should be treated, everybody should be treated the same. If they got a problem with a property, they should notify them by first-class mail. That's what the inspection department does. Then they send you a registered letter, then certified. But so help me, I cannot figure out why there is a home in my neighborhood, and I've said it in this public meeting several times, that has not been given served notice, and the weeds are sitting in that yard from last summer, from last year. They're 18 inches high, but they're dead, but they're 18 inches high. So you tell me what's going on here. And also that, I want to give you some information for your well-being on monies that are available to the city of Michigan City. The bond issues at the sanitary district that they took out for the sewer to nowhere are coming due. So they're going to be able to rebond out. But I think only about $4 million. I don't need somebody to come here and tell me that. But the thing is this, you're going to have somebody coming here and talking to you about a sewer project that should have been done a long time ago, that not one dime was spent on by ARP money that met the 5 criterias that money was supposed to be spent on. But spending it on a development that was passed on 300 or 420 acres on the east side of town when people are suffering in the second ward. And that there was already a system designed and on the books and never enacted. Not even one street. Not one street. And the street that people that we passed legislation on
Councilman
came here
Prisbalinski.
and had
Mr.
their
Prisbalinski.
sewers
Mr.
fixed by a
Prisbalinski,
fund
please
that
do
I
not speak over
sponsored.
me. Your time has lapsed.
I'm just saying, you guys are, the SRF money is about $4 million available at
Mr.
the sanitary
Prisbalinski.
district. So,
Either you can cease your comments or I can have you requested and removed from the council chambers. Please do not be disrespectful.
I'm not trying to be
Your
disrespectful.
time has
all
lapsed.
right? I'm just saying,
again,
is this,
Officer? Thank you, Mr. Prisbalinski. Public comments are now closed. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. He said,
Thomas, I want to talk?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, this is Tommy Kolabic, 1316 Ohio Street again. I'm gonna go back and set the Wayback Machine. There's something really cool. That's a kind of make our 60-year mark about. I brought my history book. It's and these were published in 1976, around the time of our bicentennial, by the News Dispatchers. Coach Doug Adams on the cover, cutting down the necks for the 1966 state championship basketball team. But one of the articles in the back talks about Michigan City, an all-American city. This was in April 1965, so we're at our 60-year mark of this. Shows a picture of Mayor Randy Miller and a gentleman named Pat Garrettson. That's back when City Hall was in the Warren Building, which is now the Art Space, as Councilman Beatrice well knows. It says, Mayor Randy C. Miller is sporting a beard and observations of Indiana Sesquicentennial reads the 1966 All-America City recognition. It was actually 1965, but the year 1966 saw Michigan City gain double recognition of major notice. Already the toast of Indiana, thanks to the basketball prowess of the Elston Red Devils, the town became an All-America City on April 8th. Michigan City, cited by Look magazine and the National Municipal League for the quality of community life, particularly as evidenced by citizen action programs, was one of 13 All-America cities chosen from the original field of 142 entries. President Lyndon B. Johnson wired his congratulations and lauded the city for its excellent example of citizen effort and interest of municipal affairs. Michigan Governor George Robney speakered a May 13th banquet at which a formal presentation of the award was made, added his praise. I know a lot of, we used to watch the old News and View show, and a lot of people, like Burl Burgwell, and a lot of people always talked about that all the time. That was a really big deal for Michigan City election. I think it's kind of maybe something that might be forgotten about, but, it's, so I mentioned that, and that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clavitt. Yes, sir.
My name is Tom Nazemick. I live at 214 Ann Street. My house is right next door and would share a property line with the proposed drug rehabilitation facility proposed for Ann and Wabash Streets. I took the time last week to visit the Porter County facility called the Respite Center in Valparaiso, along with Councilwoman Lee. And I still have concerns about the security and safety of our neighborhood if this facility were to be placed there. Ours is a historic neighborhood in the center city, middle of the second ward. It is a neighborhood of young families. At the corner at Washington Street is a school bus stop where students gather every morning to take the bus to school about 7 a.m. and they return at 3 p.m. This bus stop would be about 150 yards from this proposed drug rehabilitation center. A block and a half away from this facility is an elementary school. Putting a drug rehabilitation facility that operates 24 hours around the clock in a neighborhood of families, an elementary school, and a school bus stop, I think sends the wrong message to our young people. I think we can do better than this. A better location can and must be found. Thank you, Madam President and members of the council.
Thank you. Public comment? Is there anyone else for public comment? If there are none, public comments are now closed. Comments from the council? Councilwoman Lee.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking of the rehab facility, there will be a town hall meeting on April 30th. That's a Wednesday, at 11 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. at the Old St. Anthony's. So there are two different times. So 11 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. There'll be a town hall to hear everybody's views and opinions about the new rehab facility that will be going into the second ward. So if you can come, we'd love to have you.
Councilman Colton.
Thank you, Madam President.
Yes.
So the first ward is blessed with a few neighborhood groups, and we've got cleanup days coming up in May. On May 3rd, which I think is a Thursday, we've got the Eastport neighbors. Theirs will be in the evening of that Thursday. Pretty short. And then on May 9th is the Canada Park neighbors. So that's the ones around like Dune Billy's and around that area. There's two Canada neighborhoods in this town. It's interesting. So you can reach out to me about the times. There's also contact information for both of those community organizations on the city website for the first ward. I am pretty sure there's also one that's going to be in Elston Grove, but I don't have the date in front of me and I didn't get information about it. But if you're in Elston Grove and interested about a community cleanup, just reach out to me. Thank you.
Are there Councilman Kuzbalinski?
Yes, also along with the resident house meeting that they're gonna have on what was that, April 30th, I believe. They're also sending out a mailing to the residents that live within 1,000 feet of this proposed treatment facility. How they came up with 1,000 feet, I don't know. And I don't know how far that actually reaches, if that's like 2 blocks or 3 blocks or what have you. But I think it's very imperative and very important. Although this piece of property is zoned for that type of use and medical use, speaking to a lot of community leaders that I know, they're not necessarily too hyped up about the idea to put that treatment facility there. It'll be right in the midst of a lot of Midtown development and a lot of neighborhoods, residential neighborhoods. a block away from St. Stan's Grade School, within a distance of 3 or 4 bars, which are open all night and all day. And I know that there's going to be one more meeting. My concern is that the citizens that live around there, if you are totally against this and you don't like the idea, you need to show up at the meetings and express your concerns of what is going to be going on. One thing we have to remember, the people that are on the committee that elected this site, okay, and a lot of the members up here on the city council, they don't live anywhere close to where the site's at. And they're not going to have to deal with any ramifications that may come from this. They might not have to deal with the, I don't know if it'll happen, reduction in property values. I don't know what kind of, what do you want to say? What kind of effect this type of facility has on property values. I know that Mickey Webb said that in her mind, she didn't think it would have any negative value, but she doesn't have any written report to back anything that she's saying. So it's very important that you attend the meeting, get all the information you can, and we're going to move forward with this. And I'm sure there's more to come. Also, I know, Madam President, were you talking about having a workshop for the for the Lafayette York Street? Has that been set yet in stone?
No, it has not.
Okay, all right.
Due to that, you were the liaison. I was requesting for you to take head on that to get that scheduled.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you're right. Anyway, when that workshop comes about, I would encourage everybody that's on the city council to make that a priority to show up, because that is a workshop or a project that's been on hold 8 or 9 years. It's going to take a lot of money to do that. And that's where the council is going to come into play. So we need to make sure you attend that. One more thing. Oh yeah. Earth Day is coming up, right? April 26th? No. April 22nd. So even if you can't make it to the beach cleanup on April 26th, if there's somewhere in your neighborhood, a lot that's got a lot of trash in it, or somewhere, a playground, yeah, go out for a walk, take a plastic bag, go out and pick up garbage for a couple hours and try to improve your neighborhood or somewhere else. Or on April 26th, come down to the beach at 10:30, go for a walk and pick up garbage on the beach. But especially try to do something to improve the community on those 2 days. And one thing that I'm going to start doing, I wanted to start doing, but I figured I'd start today, is days that people in Michigan City, we should be flying the American flag, at your residencies or your place of business. But April 21st is Patriotic Day. So on Patriotic Day, everybody in Michigan City that has a flag, stick it out there on the front of the house in the flag holder and be proud to be an American. And yeah. And with that being said, just one more thing I'd like to say about the
Councilor Chris Belinsky.
What?
You have exceeded your time, sir. With all due respect.
Okay.
Beyond that.
Okay, well, let me just ask a question.
Yes.
Okay, because I know this came up before, saying that we exceeded our time, but I don't know, did this council, I don't remember, did this council ever vote on how long a council comment would last?
Okay.
Do we have that written in stone?
If, even though this is comments and not a Q&A, that even applies to council. But I will elaborate by saying, according to Robert's rule and the ordinance, as it states that comments for council is not conveyed. However, the presiding president has the authority to set that time frame. As I have conveyed, that comments are 3 minutes. That also applies to council. The 5-minute rule that you spoke on applies to when there is a motion on the table. You have 5 minutes to address that. It goes back to the public. It comes back to the council.
Right.
And you obtain your 3 minutes, not for comments.
Okay.
Towards the end.
Okay.
Are there any other? Dr. Kaur?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. Last Sunday, I took the time to visit the Respite House in Valparaiso. And so the gentleman who had come and spoken to us, Mr. Peters, gave me a tour actually at a very short notice. One thing I wanted to mention, I know there are some strong feelings, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But it's really not a drug rehab center. It's really not a drug rehab. It's a respite house. When somebody has problem with substance abuse, they go through rehabilitation and then they go to a respite house so that they don't return back to that environment. So it's not like there's active treatment going on there. The treatment is done. It is a respite house for them to stay there from 6 months to a year. And what I found was they had some very strict rules. They had curfews, which is strictly implemented. And that home, actually, if somebody did not tell me that home was a respite house, if I drove past that, I would not even know that it's a respite house. It really blended nicely into the surroundings. So I hope whoever has concerns, please take a visit, go there and take a look at it. And if somebody's interested, I'd be happy to drive them there. And I think it's, before you make up your mind, at least it's worth paying a visit. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kaur. Are there any other council comments? I would just have two. One, first and foremost, I would just like to thank Madam Mayor for allowing me to represent the city council and as the council president to speak with the Krieger Middle School student government body that came in a couple of days ago. And they wanted to meet some of the council members and to address some concerns of theirs and the roles of council members. And as I conveyed to them, they are our future leaders that will one day hold these seats or higher seats in government. They had some suggestions and recommendations that they would like to see in Michigan City. One was a development for a Dave and Buster's. So I'm putting that out there to the planning at EDMC. And so it was very enlightening. It was approximately about 20 students, and they definitely engaged in conversations, and I look forward to seeing them at other events. They are actually interested in community spring cleanups projects as well. They wanted to know what organizations is putting these on, and so that they can participate. And also lastly, just as a reminder, the mayor's town hall, the next one is going to be held May 22nd at Squat Post at 5:30 p.m. Michigan City. If there are no other questions, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, and you all please have a good evening. Good night.